everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mommy Needs a Break. It is a podcast for new moms who don't have it together because we don't have it together, and that is okay. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I'm Marisa Johnson, and she is Marisa J. Make sure to follow our podcast on all platforms at MNAB Podcasts. Make sure to visit our website at mnabpodcast.com and join our Patreon for just $3, and you will get exclusive giveaways. You'll get exclusive content like this one. You know, you'll be the first one to see it. And yeah, just make sure to support us. What do we got today?
Oh, well, we got a big show today. Let's see. We are talking about some Santa stuff or lack thereof. We're going to be talking about how to stay debt-free during the holiday season. And of course, as always, we have fabulous guests. You see that we have a daddy guest today. He is a husband. He's a father of 3. He's an author. He's a pastor, and he's a financial wealth manager. Give it up for Mr. George Thompson. Woo! Or as Marisa and I like to call him, Pastor George.
I know.
There you go. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I'm excited. I finally get my chance to be on Mommy Needs a Break.
Ooh, ooh. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who are wondering how we know, should we call you Pastor? I feel so weird calling you like George.
George.
You can, you can do Pastor George. I get all Pastor G. My kids were in school one day and they said, What's your dad's name? They're trying to do a case of an emergency. And they said, guess what my kid said? His name is Pastor George. I said, I think that just from church, that's how people engage me. So, but once I was at the airport and people walked up and said, hey, he's my financial advisor. He's my pastor. He prayed for me. He helps people get jobs. He does business. So people call me by however I've helped them. So it's like, so my kids are kind of watching people watch people how they react to me in that manner. But Pastor George is fine, George. That just
we gotta call you Pastor George because I feel so bad.
I know.
But yes, we know Pastor George from our church. He actually is the pastor of stewardship and finance at Faithful Central Bible Church. And what does that even mean?
So first of all, stewardship is quite simply so God blesses us with things. It says in Psalms 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness therein. That means God blesses us. He blesses in 3 areas. The first is time. There's 84,600 seconds in a day. It's how well you manage that will dictate how well you'll do in life. The second is everyone's given a skill. Like everybody, there's something unique. Me, I'm a twin and I have twins, but we all have different fingerprints. So that means everyone's uniquely made. So I want to make sure we're helping people in the area of their uniqueness. The third area, which is the calling card, is treasure. Time, talent, treasure. That's your finances. So I help you manage them to help you get to the next level in your finances. So pastor stewardship helps people build wealth God's way.
Hey, and that's the way
job check.
Building wealth, okay?
You know, that happens too. That happens too when people meet me. Yeah.
Yes. And on top of that, Pastor George, you mentioned you have twins. I actually taught preschool children's church and had all 3 of his kids come through my class. And at one time, I think all 3 of them were there briefly. And I was like, wow, Pastor George got a lot of kids and they in the same class. This is a lot of work.
Yes. I haven't slept a full night since 2011. Yes.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Just kidding. No, the Mommy needs a break. That's why you need a break. Go ahead.
Right.
There you go.
But I love every minute of it.
That's good. I mean, that's good. I know it's tiring, but I mean, that's such a blessing, especially to have twins. And you're a twin. That's a huge blessing. All right, Marisa, what we got today?
So for this segment of Ain't No Shame, today is Ain't No Shame in telling your kids Santa Claus got COVID.
Wait, what?
Okay, so I wanted to make that funny, but it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. I didn't do this. My kid thinks Santa Claus is her dad. But honestly, I know there are a lot of people who are having hard times this year, you know, with everything going on. And, you know, if you don't got it, you don't got it. And there's no shame in that. This is not the time to be fronting and faking and trying to keep up with somebody else because it's hard, you know? And so if you have to tell a little fib this year or you just don't got it, there is no shame in that. And so I just wanted to make light of it, even though it is a hard subject for some people because, the holidays can already be tough as it is. But, if you don't got it, you don't got it. And I'm sure they would understand if Santa got COVID. Like, we've been in a pandemic for like a year. So it's like,
wait. When you say Halo thinks Santa Claus are dead, like the white man Santa Claus are dead, or like my daddy in my house is Santa Claus?
I don't know if she understands like the skin tone yet, but if I say like, "Oh, Santa gave you this," like she'll say like, "Oh, my dad," or like she sees the beard. I've just never corrected her. Just I don't care to.
Well, she knows him, so that's good. And then, hey, it's okay if I just jump in here real quick.
Yeah.
How you said how Santa has COVID. This is actually a good opportunity this year to not only pivot but actually show kids like this is really what happens. Christmas is really about Jesus' birthday and about how they came to worship God. Some wise men came to worship God and they brought him gifts, frankincense, gold, and myrrh. And they bought gifts. Now it's about people getting gifts. Right. So now's a good time to actually teach kids about giving. So one of the things I started teaching our kids was when you have twins, you start getting a lot of gifts. They started getting cars and started getting stuff. When I say cars, like Hot Wheels, different things, they would get like a whole tractor trailer full of them. I started teaching them to give during Christmas. Yeah. So now's the time to teach people giving. So there's two aspects of this. One is they want to start teaching giving, but then also when they receive gifts, how to receive them that are not toys, that are something for long term. For example, I'm going to mention some swear words here real quick, so I'm sorry real quick. Okay. But Roblox, Fortnite, there's these games that the kids play.
Yeah.
And there's things that they use, and I'm going to switch some other swear words, Barbie dolls, different things like that for the girls. Instead of buying them those toys, actually, I'm teaching right now, is start to buy the stocks of those companies and start teaching them those things. My kids, I'll never forget, they came down here, and my sons had not the gall, not the nerve, but the audacity to ask me to buy them some Robux, a video game, to buy some video game things. And I said, let me get this straight. After I grabbed my chest, like Fred Sanford, there's been a show called Sanford and Son. I grabbed my chest and said, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. But I said this to him, you want me to take real money and buy something fake? Man, that's a sermon, by the way. That's a whole sermon. I said, I'm not going to do that. Then I looked up the company and I bought the stock. So I've got my chest sticking out now because you know what? My son runs upstairs, one of the twins, I'm not mentioning no names, Alexander. And then he says to all the kids, hey, everybody, Dad just bought the whole game Roblox. And then he says, I'm going to tell all my friends that we own Roblox. I said, you tell them and then tell them to come see me and I'll help them do the same thing.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm teaching them two lessons.
Mattel stock is only $15.78. It's not that bad.
Okay, but hold on. But the stock, Mattel stock. Okay, then we'll do that. But also this robot, these other stocks, that we'll start buying them. But let me give an example. If you buy someone a Mattel toy, it costs more than that dollar.
Right.
And it'll be worth less in the future. And
the next
if
day.
You buy the stock, right? And then if you look at all the toys that people have and they sit down and aren't playing with anymore. That's why if you give them less toys, they'll learn to appreciate them more.
Yeah.
So you're teaching them to appreciate, and you're teaching them how to delay gratification by buying them stock and ownership in those things.
That's good. Because every time we see Target, Halo thinks it's time to buy a toy.
No. Then you hold on, and then I'm not necessarily getting on stock, but Target, and then you start their stock symbols TGT. Then start saying, hey, let's own Target, so that we start to treat people we start thinking about things differently. I'll never forget, I was traveling in Colorado, and I was sitting there and I was traveling out of town, and I always go get groceries at a store, and I always go to Target or go to places, and I'm a shareholder in these. So then what happens is, they said, where's the paper towel? Where's this? I said, it's on this aisle, it's on that aisle. And then I handed one to her and set it down. Then I'm walking into the thing, I get ready to walk out. She goes, that's one of your best employees. And then lady goes, he doesn't work here. And I turned and looked right at her. Said, no, I own the company.
Ooh.
Bought my stuff and then got out. But you understand what I tell the truth?
Yes.
No, but on the other side, that's just telling the truth.
That is the truth. It's
Cheryl,
the truth.
I'm an owner. That's somebody now. It's somebody shoplifting now before I tackle somebody. All I'm going to do now is point. Hey, you need to get him. You need to get that
Do
back.
not
So I can
tackle
receive.
anyone you
So
see
yeah,
shoplifting.
right. Because you want to know
Right.
why? I want to receive my dividends. Because what am I doing? I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting in dividends. Start
Yep.
teaching kids how to do, how to do that, and how money works, and how to invest, and how to do that. And then one more thing, and then is my kids. Remember that Roblox game? So then I found out a game called Retail, where what happens is you can open up a store. And I had my kids teach me. I played dumb. My kids showed me how to open up a store. And I opened a convenience store. And then I asked my daughter what kind of store she wanted to open. And she opened a store that did pet supplies. And I was stocking the shelves. And I said, how do you stock the shelves? She was trying to show me how to put the shelves up. Then the animals wouldn't fit on there. She put them outside. Everybody came and bought up all the animals, and they bought all the supplies. She made more money than me. Sorry, don't tell anybody this. She made more money than me. But did she think outside the box? Now she wants to open up more stores. I come in there, and then I don't log in for 3 days. There's a big sign, more animals, the whole thing. She has a whole farm.
Oh
Oh
my
my
But you see how she
God.
God.
wait? Do you see how she's
What
learning
game
that?
is this?
Yeah.
Guys, it's
Right.
on Roblox, and it's a retail. What
Roblox?
you're doing, and then my son opened a store that was doing hamburgers and French fries, and then I thought he's going to run the cash register. He doesn't. He started giving the people the hamburger and fries and taking the money from them on the spot. I'm like this. I'll put the money down. But what am I doing? You're learning, but you're also
Yeah.
learning how to become an entrepreneur. Don't
Mm.
That's
don't use
beautiful.
idle time on these games. Let them go. And
Mhm.
then what I do, I get my daddy time, a few mommy time, but make sure it is conducive to building their future and
Mm.
building wealth, right? Because you got stewardship over what? From I said earlier, everybody, time, talent,
Time.
treasure. That
Mhm.
knocks out all three. I'm
Mm.
sorry. Go
Look
ahead.
at that. Look, you over here preaching to us. We ain't even
I'm
started
trying.
real good yet. We already got a good
Right.
message.
Yeah, I already had a text and everything.
Okay, well, tell us one of your ain't no shame, one of your shameful moments as a
Good.
parent.
You know what? No, I'll tell you either one. I'm gonna give you guys a choice. The one, the job check one, when I went to, I'll tell you that one, or I can also have the one when I went to Lego Disneyland and got kicked out. Let's do the job check one
Ooh.
first.
No,
Okay.
No,
Disneyland. No, we got
Disneyland. Disneyland.
Okay. So I went to Disneyland with my family, and first of all, when I parked. So first of all, everybody, I'm not cheap. I just do not like wasting money. So I went
That's
into
how the rich
Disneyland,
stay
and first
rich.
of all, so the first thing I did is when I got ready to get in there, they said it would be $25 a park. I said, hey, that's cool. That's a good dollar figure for us to go into the amusement park and everything. Park the car, I get up, and there's a line to get in. And after we get to the line to get in, they start showing me that it costs. They said it's like $700 to get in with the family, all the stuff and all the things. And I said, no, 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 it's just me and the kids. I'm not paying for the whole line. And we ended up paying almost $1,000 to get in there. Then
Ooh.
when we started walking around, you guys know Superman had this thing called kryptonite. And every time my kids, we walked in with nothing in our hands. So we walked in, and my daughter and the people would start yelling out things,
yeah.
profanity. They would start saying to me, Daddy, we want some Hungry Bear caramel corn. And I was like,
It's
and
very
I
specific.
switched to my wife, to these not being my kids. I said, your son or your daughter wants some $15 popcorn. I never said what they said. I only
Mhm.
said what the price was. Then
Mhm.
at what this is this and then at 12:30, the guy said, "Are you ready to eat lunch?" The people at the lunch cafe, and the guy looks at us. What I said, I take a reservation. I turn and look at him. I said, "Sir, why not? We've already spent $331 in here, and we haven't even eaten lunch."
Oh
Then
wow.
my wife said, "That's it. We're leaving." So we walk out. The next time we come back, we go to Legoland, and the night
Mhm.
before, we packed all the food because when I told them we were going to Disneyland, everybody told me they weren't feeling it the next day. When I told them to pack stuff, to pack snacks, food, lunch, we go to Legoland. 3 months later, I get a membership. We walk in with all of our food, all of our snacks. We had Chick-fil-A in the morning, and we walked in. I said, before we walk in, I shouted out to my kids, hey, look, here's $20. I give them a 10, a 5, and 5 ones. Here's $20. 10, 5, 5 ones. Third kid, 10, 5, 5 ones. I said, whatever amount of money you keep here, I'll double it at the end of the day. My son walks around the whole day. The same people that were eating ice cream cones at Disneyland and letting them melt and setting them down, people that are eating popcorn, setting them down on rides, the same people didn't do nothing. At 4:45, I'm sorry, a tear just comes to my eye whenever I think about this. 4:45, my kids turned to me and said like this, Daddy, at 5 o'clock, I want an ice cream bar. I said, you can get a bar and do that. I said, let's go get it right now. So now whenever we
Oh.
go somewhere, I give them $20 up front and tell them I'll double it. So we've gone
Wait,
back before the
wait,
pandemic. Go ahead.
wait. Who kicked you out of Disneyland? Your wife?
Yeah, my wife and the people there,
Oh,
because I complained too much. They said I was so I got out of Disneyland because every time that I walked, they said I was just the worst. They were like this. You want some ice cream? I said, but you didn't eat. You already let it melt down your hand earlier. And I just was, you know how like you guys watch a sports game, like they have the commentators. I was commentating, and everybody
everything.
go like this. Hey, yeah, we need the popcorn. I said, let's get on this ride. I said, but you haven't finished the popcorn yet. Then they'd set it down, and then we'd run on the ride and say, where's the popcorn? Oh, I set it on the ground. I said, the $15 box of popcorn? There's still $8.75 left in it. So then they said,
It's like, we gotta go. We have to
let's get out of
go.
here.
This is no longer
Then,
fun. This is no longer the happiest place on
people be
earth.
making idle threats to you, like, talking crazy to you. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if you're coming back. I was like, you telling me I ain't coming back. I was telling you when we get in the car, I was gonna tell you we ain't coming back. Ain't nobody coming back.
Disneyland is expensive.
It is
Disneyland
very
is.
expensive.
But so that's the same thing though. But you understand that I'm okay with going to Disneyland. I'm okay with going to Legoland. I'm okay with going to these places. But you got to pack and you got to have a plan. You got to have you literally got to have a mommy needs a break plan when you get ready to go to these places. So what you do is you go there with a plan, and then the second part of that plan is what? All the money you would have spent on all that stuff, you own Disney stock. Because Disney stock, you turn around and you start owning these companies. And then when you own them, it doesn't bother you when they have a mouse and they're selling for a mouse on a T-shirt they're selling for $50. Then you're making money when you're watching Disney Prime and all
Disney
these
Plus,
things,
yeah.
Disney Plus, and you're watching all these different things because you're participating in what? You're an owner in the company.
Yes. Okay, well, that's good. That leads us to our next part of the show, which is mommy tips. Now, because of course we have a financial wealth management expert in our midst, today's tips are going to be centered around staying debt free for the holidays because
Yes.
clearly I've spent more than I should have. Okay. And I haven't even bought half the stuff I need to buy. So, first thing, make a budget and stick to it. I think that's pretty simple. A lot of people, I feel like, just go, okay, these are the people I have to buy for. I'm just going to buy gifts and don't really go, okay, now how much money do I actually have to do what I want to do for Christmas, right? So, first thing, just make a budget. It's not, it's not rocket science. What is it? And don't forget for stuff that's like hidden expenses. So, for example, like wrapping paper, shipping costs, holiday travel, higher electric bill, like all of these things they can add up quickly, but these are things that may happen if you have people over to your house or, you're sending gifts off. So make sure you factor that into your budget. Anything to add on that, Pastor
That's
George, when it comes to budgeting?
that is actually excellent. Is to have a budget because it's part about having a plan. So if we have the mommy needs a break budget, you sit down and you look at, hey, what is not only your budget of what you're going to spend on people, but then also how your electric bill and different things are higher, but also leverage the fact that we're in COVID. Not look at it thing like anyway, leverage it. Like in other words, like say, hey, everybody, you know what? It's been a tough year. Instead of doing this, hey, let's do Instacart where we buy people groceries instead of going out and spending on this, something that they don't. So start looking at things that people need instead of want. I'm not preaching a sermon today. I'm not
Santa
preaching a
has
sermon today.
COVID.
But there's something called a need and there's something called a want.
Yeah.
Is get people what they need.
Yeah.
See?
And then
That's actually one of the
that
tips,
would
which
actually
is
save a lot of money on your side and in doing things like sitting there saying, hey, like this is some different things that are essentials and in doing things in that area. Yes.
And that's actually tip number 2, which is give a priceless gift. So something that, whether you have to make it yourself, whether it's for a need as opposed to a want, get crafty, use your hands, bake them some cookies, whatever. But these are cheaper gifts, but they're also very heartfelt and heartwarming because they're thoughtful gifts, right? And they're probably cheaper.
Right. And also something that same way with a family though. So like let's say you have a child, a gift that your parents give you, or a gift someone give you, is to watch your kids or have your parents or grandparents read to your kids and tell them a story by Zoom or do some technology or do something like that. And then that gives you a break for an hour. Then hold on.
Yes.
You turn around to a friend and say, hey, let's all read a story together and then have fun and then do that and then give that other mommy a break. Then you guys can do that and give each other a gift and a break. I tell you in the Bible that they came to see Jesus and they brought gifts. bring a gift.
There you go, Marisa. Let's do that. We need breaks. All right, and the last tip is, this is the one that I had to like read for myself. The last tip: avoid self-gifting. Okay. The National Retail Federation said that 57% of Americans spend almost $127 each holiday season buying gifts for themselves. I am included in that because I just got some stuff from Fashion Nova and was like, why did you get this, Megan? This wasn't on the list. So yeah, pass on treating yourself for the holiday season. Treat somebody else with that money. And if people are asking you like, hey, people say, hey, what do you want for Christmas? There you go. Tell them what you want instead of being like, no, I'm good. No, you know what? Since you asked, since you're feeling like generous this season, there's actually something I want. Tell them to buy it for you, or wait until your budget comes back around for January. Wait till those sales kick in and then get it then if you absolutely need it.
That is awesome. I got to say one last thing about that. Do you see how you did that? And so having a budget and doing it, but then also giving people, I love my wife. And one of the things I do as a gift to her is I give her a gift card, and I tell her, and there are certain stores that she really likes to go to. And what we do is I give it to her on Christmas Day, and then we go January 4th and we buy all of that stuff at 70% off. So we go in the shoe place and we buy and we do it. And then when I'm sitting there, like, so like when she's picking out stuff, guys, so you got to get in this position. You like this. When she says, I want these shoes. And like, they were like, let's say $300. Now they're like $40, something like that. You like, get them. And then I act like I'm, I go right ahead. And when I see 70%, I'm like, go right ahead. You see, I'm like a cheerleader, so as soon as they do that in Disneyland, I'll be back. So yes.
It's crazy. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's crazy because there was like, me and Terrell talked about it, and there was like nothing that I want this year because there's nothing. I mean, I guess we've been in the house this whole time and just buying little things here and there throughout the year. It was like, what are we gonna buy? It's like literally buying just to buy now. That's how it feels a little bit. But in the beginning, when we got married, we had just got a brand new little apartment, and we had all this new furniture, and it was just like, we thought we had like the world. And we're like, what are we going to get? We had that same conversation. Like, what do we need? We don't really need anything. So, we came up with this thing we do every year where we buy each other 4 $25 gifts. And basically those gifts end up being like things that we know that we need, but we never buy for ourselves. So like if he needs T-shirts, he's not going to go buy it, or I need a new coffee mug, or I need a new hat or something. It's like we have to intentionally listen to each other to see like what we actually need. And so it's like a thoughtful gift. And then we have like one $150 gift that we buy each other. So we've been doing that for like almost 5 years now. And it's just like something, because we don't ever really need anything. It's just something to do like with each other and to show that we like actually listen to each other's needs.
That is awesome.
That is,
because that's a plan. You see that's a budget and a plan.
Right.
And it requires thought.
Right.
And it can be pressed because he's listening to you, and then it also teaches your family that you're buying things all year round and you're taking care of people. So just because one of the things that I don't want to be is what's called a Disneyland dad, where you just do something once a year and then that's it. Yeah. But you want to be consistent all the way through with your family. And that's a great example.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good. That's a good idea. I just was like, hey, I want LASIK. I'm like, can I have LASIK? I'm over here asking for expensive gifts because I was like, I'm not going to get this for myself. LASIK. Let me get that.
I think I use my birthday for the expensive gifts.
Oh, that's good. That's smart.
I'm always like,
all right, passengers, let's talk about you a little bit. How did you even get into wealth management? And were you always really good with managing your money, or is this like a skill you had to learn?
That's a great question. So when I came out here I grew up in Minnesota, and when I came out here to college, I just started. There was a gentleman that was teaching a class on option trading, and I started people learning about how to buy stocks and learning how to do investments. And I always was just kind of good with money. Like when I was a kid, I used to go shopping with my mother, and she'd always, we buy stuff, and I'd always take the extra money when we shopped from a list, and I'd take the extra money and find out other food that we needed other times during the week, and I would buy that and I'd start storing it in a place in the house. Then sometimes I just take the money, come back, give her the milk, and then I'd put all the other stuff, and she'd see how I kind of figured out the flow of groceries. What we ate is the same way that money kind of flows. So
Yeah.
I learned the practical skills of investing. But then once I started investing, I started buying stocks and things when I was in college, about 18, 19 years old. So I used to make about $3,000 to $5,000 a month in the late 80s, early
College?
90s. Yes.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah. So my first goal was to make $1 million by the time I was 35. So it took me till I was about 33 to do the first and so
What?
first do my first investing, and that was purely in stocks. And then I
What?
started doing real estate as well. And then now I run and own a wealth management firm. So I'm showing people how to do it, whether it's in stocks, whether it's in real estate, whether it's investments. And I have very specific strategies on how you do it God's way. And I just really enjoy teaching people. And one of them is being debt free. And just explaining what debt free means is that means you don't have a car payment and your home is paid off. So that's something that I teach in techniques to. That's something that I teach to people, and in doing it. It's a passion, but it's also I've always kind of done that. Like my mother, she's passed, but she was not surprised to find out that I was a financial advisor, and in doing that.
So Pastor George is our financial advisor, actually.
Yeah.
And he's really.
Oh, wait, Marisa, what have you learned about? Because I know you mentioned that, and I was like, oh, this is so good. So what has Pastor George taught you that you feel like is like helped you guys out so much?
So, I mean, if we go back like maybe 7 years, I want to say, I took Pastor George actually his financial class at Faithful Central. It was how to get out of debt. And at that time, I didn't have a house, I didn't have anything, I had a car payment. But I use that, every year after I was taught it. It was like the debt eliminator, basically. And when I got married, we came together with, mostly me with debt and all this, finances together. And it was literally the first Excel sheet I popped out. It was like, okay, give me all your information, give me all my information and put it in a sheet. Okay, this is how we're going to pay things. We're going to get the highest one or the lowest one, pay it off first, and then add whatever. It's a whole formula. So introducing Terrell to him was easy for me because he saw that we paid off all our debt, like literally the first couple months we were married, just using this simple formula. So introducing them was easy because Terrell already knew like where I got it from. And I think like now as we have a family, it really just like keeps us on top of, like our spending. Terrell's now really into stock, I feel like. I mean, I feel like he's kind of been into it, but now that we meet with Pastor George, he's always, buying new stocks and watching these videos on investing, and we're always aware of our credit cards, like which one we're using, so I think it's been good because it's just now always in the back of our head, like, okay, we got to meet with him. Okay, we got to meet with him. Okay, we got to get our savings together. It's always in the back of our head. So it's really important to us. And I just wanted to ask you, like, why is wealth management so important to families? Like, why should people be thinking about it? Even if you don't have a family, but especially when you have a family, you have kids, why is that so important?
Gotcha. I want to answer that question, but first I want to respond back to that. That just warms my heart. I used to, there's something called, I used to get excited when I made money in investing. But then also, as you know, I'm a pastor. I get excited now when people come to me and they say this, Pastor George, I did your class. I learned I'm buying a house. Will you come over? No, this is pre-COVID. I do what's called house blessing, where I come over and pray over your house. I've been asked, can you guys keep me in prayer? I've been asked to go over 2 houses and pray over them for things, but I can't. So I'm telling them like, now I guess I'm going to do a drive-by. I'm going to drive by the neighborhood and drive around the block praying. You know what I mean? I'm going to do fun. But in doing it, but I enjoy doing that. So the class, though, the calculations on how to get out of debt are actually ones on how to build wealth. So the class is called Do Good. GOOD, get out of debt. And the same one we use for investing. And then let me tell you why it's critical that why I teach this so passionately about people getting out of debt, investing, and building wealth. There is something in among the African American community, or just in the community. It's called a wealth gap. I'm going to repeat it again. A wealth gap. Say wealth gap, meaning that there's people that have, and there's people that have not. That gap is getting bigger, and especially with African Americans, you're seeing that, like the entrepreneurship levels. The entrepreneurship levels, the home ownership levels are at lows. The student loan debt levels are very high. So what happens is people get put in positions where they get in debt from student loan debt, and they never get out of them in order to be able to buy a home. But I want to show them there's another plan for them. The Bible says in Jeremiah 29:11 that God has a plan and a purpose for your life, plans of hope and a future. So you have to understand that there is a plan for you, and we just have to utilize that plan and then to get to the next level. And last thing about how we want to go about teaching people about this and why it's so important is everybody's at a level. The first level is struggling and sinking. That's the inability to pay your current bills. The second level is steady. You have just enough to pay your bills. But if something snaps, crackles, or pops, you fall down to struggling. Then the next level is solid. That means you've been doing pretty well, putting in your 401k, wherever you work, and things like that. The next level is called surplus. That's extra money. And the highest level is service, where you're not concerned with finance. You do whatever God put you on this earth to do. What my goal is, and what I teach people, and utilize my book, The Wealth Cycle, is I show you how to get from one level to the next level to the next level to the next level. But I want to say this. Why is it so critical right now to teach, Pastor George? Because right now during a pandemic, people fell down a level. Or God forbid, they fell down 2 levels. So what I want people to do is to stay at the same level, but actually I think that you can even go higher. There's actually people that are actually thriving during this time because they learned how to pivot or learned how to do things. So that's why it's always important to me, but it's extremely important to me right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's so good. That is so good because I'm like, that's something that's always been near and dear to my heart. I was one of those kids that I had a bank account at 16 because I begged my mom for one because because I wanted to reconcile my checkbook. Remember when that was a thing when people would I don't know why.
I thought I was old. That's good. Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to balance my checkbook. I don't even understand where I learned that from, but my mom was hesitant because my brother he's older than me and he was the opposite of me. And she was like, I'm not going to let you get yourself into debt and mess up. And now you owe these overdraft fees. And I was like, no, I'm going to balance my checkbook. And I did. And I probably balanced that checkbook for years. Okay. I didn't even need to because I didn't even use it that often. I was like, let me balance it. And then of course, everything turned digital and I didn't have to do it by hand anymore. But I was always one of those kids that really, I don't know, finances just was very important to me. I guess maybe because I grew up poor and I understood how that affects our community, especially. And so when I went into college, of course you see these people are like, don't get a credit card in college. That's where they get you. That's where you get in debt. And I was like, no, I'm going to play the credit card game. And I did that. And it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, 0% APR. I made a plan. I'm going to pay stuff off. The 0% APR is for this time frame. So I know I have this time frame to pay it off. But I did that over several years and got my credit score to 800 plus at the age of 21, 22. And it was just a game for me because I was like, I'm going to pay off my debt on this card. And before they try to, raise the rate on me, I got a good credit score. So I don't know, that it was teaching me just to be very aware of how much I was paying for stuff, how much I was charging, how much I was paying off, how quickly I was paying it off. Understanding okay, if this has a higher interest rate, you don't want to put stuff on there, just stuff like that, understanding finances overall. And and then I even majored in finance because I was like, hey, this is I could do this. I do have a financial background. I don't tell people that. I like to stay in the entertainment world, but I do have a financial background. An accounting background at that. But it's so important because I feel like as Black people, nobody really teaches us this, and even my parents, even though God bless them, wonderful people, they didn't really teach me this kind of stuff. I had to learn it on my own. But the good thing is the internet is everywhere now. It's on your phone. You can learn this on your own. It's just a matter of do you really want to learn it? Do you really want to know how to do this?
Right. And also have someone that's holds you accountable to it. But what you said is excellent. How you manage your checkbook, how you built up your credit.
Yeah.
Because you see so many people, you said play the game, but you see how many people get played by the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then so you're doing the right thing by having a good credit score. Because you see that helps you when you get ready to purchase a home or doing things. Your credit score dictates what the interest rate will be.
Yeah.
Your income dictates how much home you can afford. And that's why you want to get in a home that you can afford so that you can pay it off. And then before someone else says, but I want to get the tax write-off, then buy another property and have someone else pay for it and then you receive the income, and you receive the tax deduction. And then you build something. I'm going to repeat again. It's called generational wealth.
Wait, say the second one again? Buy a second home and do what?
You buy another home, an investment property. If you remember at Faithful Central, I started a program over 8 years ago called Buy Inglewood, where you buy investment properties. If you know, there's some properties that I purchased in Inglewood or around in LA that I purchased, and then I bring my kids to them to show them to them. Right when I initially buy them, then I bring them back weekly. Well, I used to on the way to school. I show them that, like, as I'm renovating them. What they don't understand is that later on, these are properties I bought for them at their ages. Now, mommy needs a break. Let's go. Is that we see you buy a property now, so when they turn 18 or 19, they don't have any mortgages. That way they can be used for them to go to school, and then they don't have student loans. They can be used for them to also open businesses and start to do that, so that you can begin to manage not only your finances, but then you can make a difference in building generational wealth and have a family wealth building plan. But
Speaking of your kids, I remember when I took your class, I can't remember if the twins were born or which child was born at that time.
The twins were born first.
Was it oh no, it was the twins. Yes.
Yes.
Because you said you had basically bought them houses and then you were putting them to work so their paychecks were paying the mortgage. Is that what you said? Wasn't that what you said?
So little close to that. So what happens when they were younger is I bought properties. It's funny, I had to drop a letter off at one of them pre-COVID at one time, and I said, "Hey guys, let's get on welcome here." They like, "We've never been here before." I said, "No, actually, when you were born, you used to live here." That was a long time ago. And the thing, no, it's hand these little piece of paper out because I'm teaching them how to work and doing things. So what you do is you buy properties, and you don't put them in your kid's name. You do something called a living trust. This is also estate planning. We're not necessarily getting into that today. But what happens is you put them in your family trust. And then as they get older later on, they're going to have them be employees. So then you eventually start having them be employees where they start being the managers of them.
Because you want to do that because when you pass,
when you pass, no, we have a living trust.
Oh, I see.
They can just be administrators. Okay. So I'm going to explain that, but then everybody's getting a little complicated. We have to do more class on this. There's something called a trustee. There's something called successor trustees. Okay. So I'm just saying right now is that they can be beneficiaries of a trust, but you put your properties later on. We talk about properties. They can be in a corporation. They can be in a living trust. You want to put your properties in trust name. That makes them private instead of public knowledge. And then later on, you can start to pass these things on to your children.
Got it. I was gonna say I remember them like acting or something. And
yes,
and
so I had my kids
like,
acting.
I'm gonna use the paychecks to
yes,
pay
I
the
did.
mortgage.
That's true. I got to show. You know what? I found the picture of that the other day. These pictures are going on my thing. So my kids, I had them acting when they were little, and twins are pretty popular because I was like this. One day, let's say one of the kids, Georgie, booked something. I'd always bring them both. So I didn't want them ever to have personality issues like one was picked and the other. They would never know. I'd say, we just go play. And then they would go do their shoot. And then I would sit there. And one time I had Georgie at a shoot where he had been booked. And then Alexander and this one kid, this other kids, they'll have other kids there, weren't cooperating and everything. And I said, "Ma'am, here's his work permit. Here's his thing. You can put that outfit on him. He'll go right back out there." I was like, "This is big." And then they would shoot a video. I'll use you two as an example. Is that they might be your son on a shoot.
Right.
And they would do it. And then we would go to Chick-fil-A. I don't know, I'm plugging Chick-fil-A. Then we go get something to eat at the end and we come back. But I took their paycheck and then you start to invest them.
Right.
So that'll be part of it. But then, as you know, my daughter now has such a personality. As soon as all this stuff lives, I'm putting her in there so I can get some of my money back.
Yes. No, that's so good because there's so many horror stories about parents like opening credit cards up in their kid's name, and like now the child is 10 years old and has terrible credit and they're like a kid. And now this is the other opposite, extreme of it, which is like so much
the exact
better.
opposite, right? It's building wealth instead of like, the kid signs up one day for cable. You ain't paid your cable bill the last 20 years ago. I'm like, kids, I'm only 18,
Right.
So yes. So putting the cable in their kid's name. So this is building generational wealth, but you want to start at an early age. Like the companies that you named earlier. Look at what you shop. Everyone just write down all the things that write down list 10 things you guys use every day, or the mediums we're using right now, and look at that. Like YouTube, as you know, is owned by Google. You know what I mean? Like, so you understand that like these things are going to keep going. If you have I don't know anybody that doesn't have a Netflix account. And doing those things. If you start owning the things that you're just utilizing, then you can start walking through those and be able to do that.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Now I have a question about when we talk about our community and how, we got to close that wealth gap. What have you found to be the toughest hurdle for people when they're going through trying to build financial wealth and success?
Oh, that's really, really simple. Actually, there's a whole form. But the number one thing is just, I don't use the word ignorance. I'm going to use the word unbelief. Like they just don't think it's for them. Like in other words, I say, hey, look, right here in Inglewood, like I was doing this, okay? Because there's a forum right next to the forum in Inglewood is something called Carlton Square. I used to tell people, buy these condos. One day, our church, as you guys know, used to own the forum. I said, this forum is going to be owned when it was sold to another company, and they're going to build a stadium, a football stadium. I said, buy these condos. They were on sale for $165,000.
Wow.
Right now.
In Inglewood?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You can't even take a
now,
tour.
Now they're 500. Now they're 500. They're 525,000 or higher.
No, I've seen some for like 800. Wait,
yes, right.
And the houses,
the condos and those things. So I'm just trying to show the entry point of some of those, and then also in the other areas around in there, in Inglewood, some of the other gated communities, some of these were on sale for 700 in 2006 and 7. Then they went down to like in the 400s, and then now they're in the 800s. Mm-hmm. So it's people being able to sacrifice. Now I want to say this, and then I've told people this: there were homes in Inglewood that were 800 square foot homes on 6,000 square foot lots, and they were $300,000. And I told people, I went to young adult classes. I went to everywhere and told everybody, I said, any young adult, man, woman, needs to buy these 700 square foot places. And they're in horrible shape. And don't fix the floors. Just put rugs down till you can save up the money, and then renovate them and make them 2,000 square foot places and sell them for $1 million. Mm-hmm. And now all the listings, if you pull them up right now, say near SoFi Entertainment Center, near the phone, and they add $100,000 or $200,000 to the prices now. This was said before. Now, that's number one. Number two is you guys need to find, when you're doing real estate, find adjacent. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't buy a home in Beverly Hills. I'd buy Beverlywood, not Beverly Hill. And if you can't afford Beverlywood, then come on down to Inglewood. So what happens is you got to get in. There's a famous Negro poet that said, you got to get in where you fit in. So I would find something that's not totally attractive, but it's going to be attractive later. And there's some other opportunities in that. And we teach those in our real estate classes, in doing that, but in our real estate sessions. So, I mean, there's still opportunity. It's just number one is know-how and then the discipline to do it. And when you do that, that's how people achieve their goals.
Oh, that's good. So unbelief, you just got to believe that you could do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about, the Black family and how there's a gap. What are some tangible, ways that if you are living paycheck to paycheck, and you're having hard times, but maybe, you want to start a savings account, or you want to take the step to, create generational wealth, get out of the debt. What are some tangible steps that families can take that, don't have the income right now to just, invest in stocks or buy a home? Like what are the first couple steps?
Gotcha. 10 steps. By the way, I just want to let you guys know, mommy needs a break. You've already listed them. So I'll tell you what to do. You take baby steps. Somebody says, no, but take baby steps.
Oh.
And a lot of the baby steps is what we just said today. Like, in other words, to say, hey, instead of saving half, like I start with people saving 10% of their income or 20% of their income, 30%. If someone can't do that, then what? Just what you said earlier. Save $25. But the first thing you do is you sit down and you come out with a budget that you're going to utilize. And then separate needs from wants. Now, you say Santa has COVID, but what you want to say is spending got COVID. So you know what I mean? So what you want to do, don't worry, see that Mega Moments working out sermon. See that? So what I'm saying is that, hey, wasting money got COVID. Let's just stop that. Yeah. So what we want to do is act like that's a virus, overspending. So what you do is we start just taking baby steps of beginning to save and then shifting your money. Like, in other words, whenever you make money, there's only 3 things you can do with it. Spend it, which everybody, we ain't got to spend no time on that. The U.S. already got that under control, it appears. Second is lend it, means put in the bank. Banks aren't paying no interest. Third is own something. Own what? Houses, cars, bikes, stocks. Start owning things. So what they're doing is just, so if you don't have a lot, you're just shifting it.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, it says in Matthew 25, it says you are faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over many. So what happens is when you start managing money correctly, like what we were saying earlier, managing money correctly, then God starts blessing you with more. Then we get more, then you start blessing more. There's a story in the Bible where someone has 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent based on their ability. So what happens is the one with 5 talents went out and doubled it. The one with 2 talents went out and doubled it. So that's saying now a talent might have been worth over $250,000. So someone went out and had $1 million and made it $2 million. But then you might not be that person. But the person with 2 talents went out and still doubled it. The one with 1 buried it in the ground. That means he didn't manage it. Went out and got credit cards, did that, payday loans, and everything like that. Everyone has money. You have to put it in a manner conducive to building wealth. Mm-hmm. So it's a mindset, but then by taking actual practical steps forward to achieve the goal. That's all I have to do is just take one step at a time.
That's good.
Oh, no, that's really good. That's very important too. Cause I feel like there's people who are like, oh, I don't have the money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
That's not true.
I feel like everybody can do something. Everyone can do something for their future, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why whenever someone says they don't have money, they have to stop saying that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's now so you can say this now, but so there's people that are, it's called poor and broke. Poor is you ain't got nothing. Broke is you got a lot of stuff, you just can't pay for it. Mm-hmm. So if you poor, we have to raise your income.
Yeah.
If you're broke, you got to manage.
Yeah.
If you're poor and broke, we got to do both.
See, there's always something you can do. There's always something you can do. Yeah.
There's so many entrepreneurship income, you can do that, or it's the other way. Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I am so big on investing, especially just for your family and your leaving a legacy. One of the things that I started getting into is cryptocurrency because it's a new form of investing, and I feel like it's a tech form of investing. And I feel like there's no Black people that really are into it like that because I guess it's new or not or something. What are your thoughts about cryptocurrency?
Oh, that's a good question. So first of all, let me just define so everybody knows what cryptocurrency is. It's a digital currency. So it's not backed by the government, backed by different things and in this area. So it's volatile. So a couple things. There are actually now Black companies, there are people that actually are involved now in cryptocurrencies. So I think there's a place for that in the area of what's called speculation, like to do that in those particular areas. But also I think it's okay. But also to make sure that you also have a plan that involves every aspect of investing. Like in other words, that you still own the companies that are doing certain things. Like, what I mean? There's companies, stocks are companies that have earnings. So you have some of that, but then also if you wish to do cryptocurrencies and a couple other areas and stuff like that, I don't see a problem with that. I just want people to invest, but then also have an investment plan. Like in other words, like you should be investing monthly. So I don't want people to get lulled into, I'm going to put my money in here and see what it does. I'm like, it's just like, it's just with your children. You got to spend time with them every day. You can't just say, I'm going to set them down and come back in a year and see how it happens, see how they went. No, you got to be an active participant in it. But we need to participate.
Do you have crypto?
No, I don't. I personally don't invest in cryptocurrencies. Actually, there's several ways of doing it. So what I do though is I own certain companies that do it. In other words, there are companies that are involved in it. I own the companies and they have other diversified streams of income. Because what I want to do is I kind of see, I like to, how do I say this? I'll just say, I like to make money, but I also don't like to lose money. So what I want to do is I want my money to grow. And I don't like to gamble with it. So what I do is I buy the companies and then I see how they're endeavoring in that. And that goes through our dynamic portfolio management. If people would like information about that, we have advisor calls where I can give information where you can find out more about that. But yes.
No, that's good. That's good. Diversify your portfolio.
You see that? You see that? You said, Meg, that just, you guys hear that? You see how she just said that? So I'm going to diversify my portfolio. One more thing is that you guys see that's how you talk to your kids too. Like you see how I talk to my kids? I never tell them we can't. I never say we can't do something. I just tell them That's not how we allocate our resources. I came to school one time. I came to pick up my kid at school one day. I walk in and I get ready to sit down. My son walks up to me. I ain't mentioning no names, Alexander. He comes to me and says, "Dad, you look great today." I said, "You know what? Let me sit down." You know how the best. I said, "I look great. Okay, let me sit down." He goes, "Hey, Dad, you know where Target is?" I said, "Son, yes, I know where Target is. I know where Costco is. Yeah, I know where Target is. Well, hey, we need to drive by there on the way home. I want to see if they have Pokemon cards." I said, "Son, we don't need to drive by there to see if they have Pokemon cards. They have a whole aisle of that." And then he says, "Well, we need to go by there and get some because the other kids in school said it was down here at Target." I said, "Here, let me tell you something. You have a spelling test on Friday, and how well we do on that test will dictate if we're going to get some Pokemon cards, and then we'll go down there and get them because you do own stock in the company."
Yeah.
But I said, "But currently, that's not how we allocate.
Hilarious.
That's not how we allocate our resources." Yeah. But you know, when he said I look nice, I was like, "No, these are the same clothes I had on when I dropped you off." Okay, but anyway. Okay, so yeah, the kids may look
so cute.
But you got to take that entrepreneurship spirit they have in spending and get it towards wealth building. Because you buying toys and you spend the same amount of money on a stock exchange, you're still buying gifts. You're still buying them stuff, but one's going to go up.
You know what's funny? We're not buying Halo any gifts, but because her birthday, she had so many gifts. They're still in the closet. Like we haven't even given her all of her birthday gifts.
Rewrap them.
It was like, no, that's what we plan on doing. I'm like, we're not buying any more toys for this kid. We can't even organize it in her room. Like dolls' heads all over the place. It's just too much.
Right. But just rewrap them, and then when's her birthday? When's her birthday?
October.
Gotcha. So my son's birthday is December 31st.
Oh, no.
One year we bought them 2 fire engines. We bought them for these fire engine trucks. And then Alexander told me, "I really like unwrapping gifts." I said, "Really?" Okay, so we bought 2 trucks. Right, December 31st, I just rewrapped that truck. And my wife is sitting right next to me, right? He opens it. Now, they all were telling me not to do it. I rewrapped the gift. He opens it up, right? He goes, "Oh, it's a fire truck." He goes, "Daddy, I have 2 trucks." I turned, lean right in on him. Because remember, we bought 2, one for him, one for George. I said, "Son, that's one way of looking at it." Then I had to move like this from my wife, just like, "How you do that?" I'm like, "No, this family has 2 trucks."
Yes, you're right. You're right. That's a good way to look at it.
So, Pastor George, what's next for you personally, professional? What do you have coming up?
Oh, that's a good question again. So I am just really in 2021. I have just some new things coming forward. As you know, I teach my classes. They're called How To Tuesday. We're actually changing. It'll be, you know what? This is exclusive. I'm letting you guys know first. So in January, we're going to be having something called Set for Life. We're going to be walking people through a process to achieve any goal by desire, focus, accountability, consistency, and just walking them through that. And then I'm going to be doing something called a business boot camp. I want to let you know that also first, because I want you and your husband, I want you to help participate in this, is teaching businesses how to make sure they can thrive through this pandemic and all the things that we're going through. And then also in the areas of continue to teach people in the area of building generational wealth and helping families as we come through this, and us being our own stimulus package and just helping each other.
Yes. We ain't looking for no savior outside of Jesus, okay?
Yeah.
We gonna save ourselves.
Yeah, you wonder why we waited on them and we've waiting for them to do something. How's that work? It hasn't. And then when it happens, by the time it happens, it only goes to the next time something like that happens again. We have to do something that's long term, and that's by using the principles that'll help us be more successful.
Yes. Ooh, Pastor George, you out here. I'm over here like, can we talk about this some more? But yes, they can. If anybody wants to sign up with you and learn more about wealth management, where should they go?
Okay, cool. I have a website. It's called georgebthompson.com. You can just go there, and it has all my podcasts. It has all my shows and things like that. And in those areas, you can go there. And then also I have some financial planning ones also that are website at thompsonwm.com that are more investment orientated and different things like that. But georgebthompson.com.
Okay. All right. Where we at, Marisa?
So we have one more segment in this episode. It's called I'm Fine. It's a little inspiration we like to leave you, both mom and dads, to make sure you guys are keeping your heads up, doing good this week. So today I have, when we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. And that is Maya Angelou. And I just think, like I said earlier, that it's a hard time for people. It's always a hard time around the holidays for some people. And now, it's even tough with not being able to visit your families and, not being able to afford certain things. And, as long as we can just like be grateful, stay blessed for the things that we do have, not worry about the things that we don't, we'll get through this together. So just wanted to leave you with that.
Yes, good word all around today. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to Mommy Needs a Break. We hope you'll take a break with us again next week, because we always have some great mommy and daddy guests on the show. You can follow our guest, George Thompson, where can they
find you? At GeorgeBThompson.com.
GeorgeBThompson.com to get hit him up if you want to make sure you and your family are out here solid. Okay, he bought houses for his kids when they were born. Okay, that's where I'm trying to be at. Okay. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop Everywhere. Make sure you sign up to become a patron. So it's only $3 a month. Or you can bless us with more if you got it and you want to support some Black mothers out here. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com/MNAB podcast.
I'm Marisa Johnson. Follow me as She's Marisa J. Make sure to follow Mommy Needs Break on all platforms, MNAB Podcast, and visit our website, like Megan said, at mnabpodcast.com. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Everybody follow them. Put 3 on it. I got 3 on it.